Pruitt from NextLevelGuitar.com, coming to you from Decade Sound Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Today we're going to talk about being a funky bass player. So we're going to show how to groove today. Playing with a drummer, okay? Working out being in a pocket, staying in a pocket. So I'm going to give a couple examples of playing with the drummer and playing in the pocket and finding that pocket, okay? And I'm going to do it a couple different ways. I'm going to do it slap-wise, I'm going to do it fingerstyle, and I'm going to do it with a pick. That little piece there, what I was doing is even though the basic line that I was playing was all right, what's happening there is you can think about that feel two different ways when you're playing bass-wise, actually in every instrument in the band. The song's going on. Everybody at some time or another, I don't care if you're in 4/4 time, 3/4 time, 8/10 time, 16/19 time, whatever it is. Everybody's going to come back to the one. There's a meeting place all the time. As a bass player, what you're thinking about is the bass drum and the snare drum of what's going on. So with that rhythm, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what's going on in that particular song, or the way I'm playing it, actually. So everything comes back to the one, and as far as the bass goes, you want to be right there in the pocket as much as possible. For me, when I hear it, I'm listening to bang, So I'm really into the really that fat, funky, big bottom girls type feel to it. So okay, so that's one way of thinking about it. So you're staying right there in the pocket the whole time and just adding a little bit extra on the back side. Now, technique-wise, I'm using a pick. I don't usually use a pick, but in some cases it's something that's needed, okay? So to get that particular tone, what I was doing is I was using the back part of my hand to palm right near the bridge. And when doing that, it keeps the note from ringing. By muting the string a little bit, so palming with the back part of my hand right near the bridge and getting that note in there. I'm also using my left hand to stop the note a little bit afterwards so it doesn't continue to ring. That's one way of looking at it. Slap time. You knew it was coming. All right, so in that case, I'm still continuing to think. I was just doing it a little bit different. So I was going. Now, if you listen to my playing, you can kind of get a feel of what's going on because of where I'm hitting the bass drum and where I'm hitting the snare. And all those little things in between are just part of the rhythm. One of the most dangerous things on the planet is a bass player who also plays drums, because there's nothing but pocket, nothing but feel, and nothing but groove, because they understand it from both sides of the spectrum, rhythm. All right, so in this case, what I'm doing is, it's just E, octave, G, and then A, and then back to G. Those extra ones that I'm putting in between there are what's considered, or what I consider, the bass drum. So you got your bass drum and you got your snare. All right, technique-wise, think of there's a couple different ways of doing this. Lots of people do it different ways, okay? So in one of the previous videos, talked about the triplets, things like that. We're not talking about triplets right now. We're just talking about just talking about a different way of doing slap, okay? Some people like to do the overhand, and some people like to have it strung very low to where they're getting all their slap. It's still overhand, but you're getting more of a long arm in there. So kind of like Flea does. So he keeps his bass kind of low, and he plays his slap down there. What I like to do is I like to consider that my elbow is bolted to the back part of the bass. And this is all the movement that my hand is going to need while I'm doing a slap or funk part, because either you're moving up and down, and then you're rotating your wrist for the rest of it. So you got bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. So, lock the arm in the back. You're going to use the meaty part of your finger, your first finger, to do the popping. And the reason why I say that is because if you're doing it this way, and again, this is just another technique. If you're doing it this way, you're going to end up with some gnarly little blisters on the first parts of your finger. So if you get it off the side, it's going to be nice and tight. And then it also gives you the opportunity to get in there if you want to start doing some kind of different kinds of triplets. Things like Marcus Miller does and Victor Wooten and things like that. So you're popping out two at the same time. So, lock the elbow, bring the hand in. This is your movement up and down. And this is what you're going to use for your bass and your snare. Same drum beat, third different way of messing with it. still thinking in the pocket on that bass, drum, and snare, okay? So, only thing I was doing that time is to give it a little bit more of a bite. What I did is I rolled off the front pickup and went mainly to the bridge pickup. So, it gives you a little bit more of a mid-range tone, okay? A lot of people use that one when they're stepping out doing more jazzy type solos and runs and things like that. Okay, the other thing that I was doing was pickup notes. So a pickup note, a muted pickup note is what I'm referring to, is I hit the first note and then the second note, which is the G octave, so I was using G and octave G, is I made that quick pop there. And then when I went to the next one, I did a muted pickup note. So basically, I was hitting the note first and then hitting it again and fretting it. And if you're playing the bass in a way that you really got the feel down, what you want to think about is okay, I want to be able to convey to the drummer what kind of a groove I'm going for if I'm trying to explain it to the drummer. Or that you're able to feel where the rest of the rhythm goes in the pattern. So, G, G, octave. So I've got the muted note, then I've got the note itself, which in this case is a B flat, and then to a B. And then the same kind of muted note, and then to the F. And even playing it that way, you can kind of get an idea of where I'm going with the feel of it. Muted, or the regular note, then muted. That comes in handy for a lot of different songs. A lot of the old Motown songs and things like that had that kind of had kind of pick up notes like that inside them. You couldn't really hear them, but it was all part of the rhythm and part of the feel of the song. So that's just another thing to think about. And while we're talking about Motown real quick, there's techniques and tones for different music are something that come into play from time to time. If you are playing with round wound strings and you want to get the flat wound tone, one way of doing it is to again go to your right hand, palm here, mute the string just a little bit, and then you're able to go ahead and get some of that not as bright. So then you're getting a little bit more of that old P bass Motown tone. So that's just another way of getting it. And that, my friends, is how you groove. And this has been E. Pruitt from Next Level Guitar. Click the links below, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more content. We're going to have more bass stuff, more guitar stuff, more stuff. NextLevelGuitar.com.